Researchers soon discovered that the electrons that move around in the vast field behaves in a completely unpredictable manner. They don't appear to be subject to the same law that governs matters in our large universe. They are here in one moment and then gone the next. And it is impossible to predict where and when the electrons will appear. That's because, as the researchers eventually discovered, the electron exists simultaneously in an infinite number of possibilities and probabilities. It is only when an observer focuses his or her attention and look for some things, materials that the invisible field of energy and information collapse into a particle we know as the electron. That is called collapsing the wave function or a quantum event. But as soon as the observer look away, no longer observing the electron and taking his or her mind off the subatomic matter, this disappear back into energy. In other words, that particle or physical matter, the electron cannot exist until we observe it, give it our attention. And the moment we are no longer putting our attention on it, it turns back into energy, specifically in an energy frequency, and which scientists calls a wave, and into possibility. In this way, mind and matters are related in the quantum. By the way, just as we as a subjective consciousness as observing the electron into form, there is an objective universal consciousness that is constantly observing all of us and our three-dimensional reality into order and form as well. So what the means for you is this: if you are viewing your life from the same level of mind every single day, anticipating a future based on your past, you are collapsing infinite fields of energy into the same patterns of information called your life. For example, if you wake up, you think, where's my pain? Your familiar pain soon appears because you expected it to be there. This is a book named Becoming Supernatural, written by Dr. Joey Dispenza. Yeah, I'm reading. Thanks. So, imagine what would happen instead if you were able to take your attention off the physical world and the environment, as you learned in the last chapter. When you take your attention off your body and you become nobody, and you no longer have access to or use any the sense. When you take your attention off the people in your life, you become no one. So you no longer have an identity as a parent or a partner, a sibling or friend, or even as member of a profession or religious group or a political party or a nationality. You have no race, no gender, no sexual orientation, and no age. When you take your attention off objects and place in the physical environment, you are in no thing and nowhere. Finally, if you take your attention off linear time, which has a past and a future, you are in no time. You are in the present moment in which all possibilities in the quantum field exist. Because you are no longer identifying with or connected to the physical world, You are no longer trying to affect matter with matter. You are beyond matter and beyond how your identity, yourself as a body in space and time. In a very real sense, you are in the immersed blackness of the unified field where nothing material exists. That's a direct effect of continuously laboring to get to the present moment that I described in the previous chapter. The moment that happens, you unfold your attentions and energy into an unknown field beyond matters, where all possibilities exist. A field made up of nothing but invisible frequency carrying information or consciousness. And just like the quantum scientists who took their attention off the electrons to find that it reverted to physical impossibility. If you were to take your attention off your life or get beyond the memory of your life should turn into possibility. After all, it's you focus on the known, you get the known. If you focus on the unknown, you create a possibility. इसको mark करना चाहिए. I have to mark this. I should mark this. The longer you can linger in in that field of infinite possibilities as an awareness, aware that you are aware in this endless black space without putting your attention on your body, on things, or on people, place, and time. The longer you invest your energy into the unknown, the more you are going to create a new experience or new possibilities in your life. That's the law. Brain changes. When you walk through the door of the quantum field, you can't enter as a somebody. You have to enter as a nobody, and the only an awareness or a consciousness, a thought or a possibility, leaving behind everything else in the practical. As I said in the previous chapter, this process requires that you break your chemical addiction, at least temporarily, to the same emotion that you used to drive your thoughts, and you stop feeling the same way so you can stop putting your attention on the three-dimensional world of matter. The particle, and instead put your attention on the energy or possibility, the wave. Given all of that, you probably won't be surprised to learn that such an experience creates some pretty significant changes in your brain. First, because you are perceiving yourself as a being beyond the physical world, which means there is no outside danger to anticipate your thinking brain. The neocortex, the seat of a conscious mind, slows down and becomes less aroused and works in more holistic fashion. Earlier, we talked about how living by the hormones of stress cause our brain's waves to fire in a very disordered, incoherent pattern, which in turn means our body can't work effectively. Because we are trying to control and predict everything in our lives, we became excessively focused, shifting our focus from one person to another thing to some place at certain times, activating the previous neurological networks assigned to each one of these unknowns. When we slip into the present moment and become unaware of an infinite field of information where there is nothing physical, this eternal void, and once we no longer analyzing or thinking about anybody, anyone, anything, and any place or any time, we are no longer activating those different compartments of neural networks in our brain. And as we move our awareness from a narrow focus on matter, object, people, place, our bodies and times, in our external environment, and instead open our focus hello and become aware of the vastness of this infinite blackness by putting our attention on nothing, on space and on energy and information. Difference between coherent and incoherent brain waves. When we take our attention off the material world and begin to open our focus to the realm of the unknown and stay in the present moment, the brain works in a coherent manner. When your brain is coherent, it is working in a more holistic state, and you will feel more whole. When the brain is aroused due to the hormones of stress, we are narrowing our focus and shifting our attention from people, subject, things, and place in our own outer world. The brain files coherently. When your brain is out of the balance in this way, you will be more fragmented, unfocused, and living in more duality and separation. Information. Our brain begins to change. The different compartments that were once subdivided now start to unify and move towards coherent whole brain state. Different neurological communities reach out and form bigger communities. They synchronize, organize, and integrate, and what sync in the brain begins to link in the new brain. Once your brain gets coherent, you get coherent. When it gets orderly, you get orderly. When it's work well, you work well. In short, when it functionally more holistically, you feel more whole. In other words, in other words, once you start connecting to the unified fields as an awareness, or once you become more aware of it by paying attention to it, your biology becomes more whole and unified. Since the unified field is by defining the unified energy. To more clearly see the difference between the coherent and incoherent, a look at, take a look at graphic 2 in the color instead insert as well as figure 3.1. Hello friend from Uzbekistan. How are you doing? Do you understand English? I'm reading a book Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joey Dispenza. As you can see, when brain waves are coherent, they are in a phase with one another. Both their crests, their high points, and their throats, their low points matches. Because coherent brain waves are more orderly, they are also more powerful. You could say they speak the same language, follow the same rhythm, dance to the same beat, and share the same frequency. So they find it easier to communicate. They are literally on the same wavelength. When brain waves are incoherent, on the other hand, the electrochemical message or signals they are sending to different parts of the brain and the body are mixed and erratic, erratic. So the body cannot then operate in a balanced optimal state. The second change our brain experience when we enter the quantum is that our brain waves moves into a slower frequency from beta waves to coherent alpha and theta waves. That's important of that is important because as we slow down our brain waves, our conscious our consciousness moves out of the thinking neocortex and into the midbrain, the limbic brain, and it's connected with the autonomic nervous system, the body's subconscious operating system. This is the part of the nervous system that is in the charge of digesting food, secreting hormones, regulating body temperature, controlling sugar, keeping our hearts beating, making antibodies that fight infection, repair damaged cells, and myriad other functions of our body over which most scientists believe we have no conscious control. Basically, the autonomic nervous system keeps you alive. Its main job is to create order and homeostasis, which balance the brain and ultimately the body. The more we can linger in the present moment as no body, no one, nothing, nowhere, and no time, the more intricate and coherent our brain becomes. This is when the autonomic nervous system helps in and begins to heal the body because our consciousness merges with its consciousness. Yes, India. As you slow down your brain waves down and become less aware of your body, your environment and time consciousness flow out of the neocortex and towards the limbic brain. The seats of your autonomic nervous system represented by the darkest arrow moving towards the middle of the brain. At the same time as these two system insert the autonomic system whose job is to create balance, step in and creates coherent and in the neocortex, the seat of your thinking mind, represent the lighter arrows moving out towards the edge of the brain. Okay, there is a graph. There is a bye bye brain brain diagram we have to study. In other words, when you are in the present moment, you get out of your own way as you become pure conscious, pure aware, and change your brain waves from beta to alpha and even to theta. The autonomic nervous system, which knows nervous system, which knows how to deal your body much better than your conscious mind does. Step in and finally has an opportunity to clean house. That's what creates brain coherent. If you look at the graphic 3A 3C and the color insert, you'll see the three different brain scans. Graphic 3A is a normal scan of someone in normal thinking beta brain waves. Graphic 3B was recorded while a student was performing an open focus showing coherent synchronized alpha brain waves. Graphic 3C represents a deeper brain wave state of coherent synchronized theta. If in this state you are no longer reframing the known, you same your same life, and instead you keep investing your energy into the unknown as you would invest money in the bank account. Then you are able to create new unknown possibility in your life. Just the mat- just the mat- just the material electron expands back to immaterial energy in the quantum field. One scientist stopped observing it. When you no longer observe your pain, your routine life, and your problems, they will turn back into energy, into an infinite number of possibilities, into pure potential. Only once you are truly present in this potent place beyond this space and time, the place from where all things materially come, you can being you can begin to create a real change. At 4 day it at 4 day is advanced workshop in 2016 in Tacoma, Washington, we conducted a study to show how this actually works. We measured the brain waves of 117 workshops participants using electroencephalograms. EEG measurements were taken before and after the workshop. We were looking to see if we could detect changes in two different measures of brain functions. The first measure was how long it took the subject to achieve a meditative state, defined by the ability to maintain an alpha brain wave state of at least for 15 seconds. We found that the participants were able to achieve meditative state 18% quicker by the end of the fourth day workshop. The second measure we looked at was the ratio between the delta waves associated with moving into deeper levels of the subconscious mind. The high range beta brain waves usually associated with a high level of stress. Anxious people usually have lots of high range beta and a low level of delta brainwaves frequency. We were now looking to see if meditation, specifically the successful practice of shipping into the quantum realm and becoming nobody, no one, nothing, nowhere, and no time, might improve those values, and in fact, it did. Participants lowered their high range beta brainwaves, indicating they are feeling less stressed by an average of 124% and increased their delta brain waves, indicating a greater feeling of oneness during meditation by an average of 149%. The amount of high range beta waves diminished relatively to the amount of delta brain waves by 62%, and this is all happened in only 4 days. Look at 3.3 to see the result. You'll notice the same of some of the changes we measured. V greater than 100% indicates that these participants were able to make unusually significant improvements relatively quicker. That's pretty supernatural. दीपक प्रजापति रट्टा लगा चुपचाप कैमरा मत देख लिखे जा रहा है भाई लिखे जा रहा है कुछ प्रॉब्लम है क्या दीपक जी कुछ कर लो अपनी लाइफ में मुझे देखने के अलावा यूजलेस फेलो आई एम जस्ट कमिंग Changing energy, combining a clear intention with elevated emotions. Once you are in the sweet spot of the generous present moment, where all the possibilities exist in the quantum field, how do you turn one or more of those potential, those material possibilities into reality in the three-dimensional world of matter? This requires two things: a clear intention or and elevated emotions. Your clear intention is exactly what it sounds like. You had to get clear on what is you want to create, getting as specific as possible and describe it in detail. Let's say you want to go on a great vacation. Where is it you want to go? How do you want to get there? Who do you want to go with? And who do you want to meet when you are there? What sort of accommodation do you want to stay in? What do you want to do, see when you are there? What food do you want to eat? What do you want to drink? What kind of water will you pack? What will you buy to bring home? You get the point. You make it detailed. You make it real as you can see as you can, because you are going to assign a letter as a symbol of possibility to all those conditions. As you read in the previous chapter, those thoughts which make up your intentions are electrical charges you are sending out in the unified field. Now you have to combine that intention with an elevated emotion such as love, gratitude, inspiration, joy, and excitement, and wonder, to name just a few examples. You have to trip, you have to tap into the feelings you anticipate you will have when you manifest your intent. And then feel the emotion ahead of the experience. The elevated emotions, which carry a higher energy in the magnetic charge you are sending into the field. As you have read, when you combine the electrical charge, your intention, with the magnetic charge, elevated emotions, you create the electromagnetic signature that is equal to your state of being. Another way to describe these elevated emotions is to call them heartfelt emotions. Usually, when we feel emotions like those I just mentioned, we notice that our heart begins to swell. That's because our energy is moving to that area. As a result, we feel these wonderful elevated feelings that carry an intent to give, to care for, to nurture, to trust, to create, to connect, to feel safe, to serve, to be thankful. Unlike the stress emotions which we discussed in the previous chapter, that drew from the invisible field of energy and the information that surrounds the body. These heartfelt emotions contribute to the body's energy field. In fact, the energy that is created when the I missed where I was reading. Unlike the stress emotion which we discussed in the previous chapter, that drew from the invisibility of energy and information that surround the body. These heartfelt emotions contribute to the body's energy field. In fact, the energy that is created in the heart's opens makes the heart more become more orderly and coherent, just like the brain. So it produces a measurable magnetic field. It's the action that connects us to the unified field. And when we marry an attention, the electric charge, with that energy, the magnetic charge, we create a new electromagnetic field. Since energy is a frequency and all frequency carries information, it is that elevated energy that carries your thoughts or intention. Remember, those Remember, those potentials in quantum field exist only as electromagnetic frequencies. Frequencies with information, and you cannot perceive them with your senses as matter yet. It makes sense then that the the new electromagnetic signals you broadcast would attach those electromagnetic frequency in the field that are vibrational matched to it. In other words, when there is a vibrational match between your energy and your potential that already exists in the unified field, you begin to draw that new experience to you. When there is a vibration match between your energy and the potential that already exists in the unified world. Yes, India. And you, which country was that? Uzbekistan. Yeah. It will find you as you become the vortex to your future. So in that way, you don't have to work to bring what you want to manifest to you, and you don't have to go anywhere to get it. That's changing matter with matter. You have to become pure consciousness. No body, no one, nothing, nowhere, no in no time. That and and change your energy. The electromagnetic signals you broadcasting, and then you will draw that future experience right to you, changing energy, changing energy into matter. You will literally, you will literally tune into the energy of a new future as you do so. The observer, the unified field, the observing you observe a new destiny, and in then endorse your creation. Take a glance at figure 3.4. That's all for today. I have read around 10 pages of this book. Anshul Sharma. Many Wings, Rex Matillo. Hello, my name is Anshul Sharma. Okay, guys, good night. That's all for today. We will continue this book tomorrow. I will read in the midnight only, right? So that's all for today.